Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've had a really good week so far. I'm here finally with such a highly requested video that has been requested since basically the start of my channel, and it is like an Ask a Girl in Engineering Q&A. So I compiled a list of questions, and hilariously I was like running out of paper and I just reached for the closest thing, and it was like some of my thermodynamics homework, so that's what that is. But anyway, I wrote down some of your guys' questions, kind of like made them more general so I could address like a lot of questions in one go. So yeah, that's just what we're gonna do today. If you want to hear my opinions about being a woman in engineering, what engineering is like, and some advice I have for girls who want to go into engineering, then just keep watching. So let's just get the basics out of the way. What is your major and what is it like to double major? Because I'm about to answer that question. So I am majoring in chemical engineering and chemistry, so I have two majors. And honestly, double majoring is not that bad because for a chemical engineering major, you have to have a lot of chemistry electives and required chemistry classes. So really, adding a double major for me at my university is not a big deal. I just have to add on a few more classes and plan my classes a little more carefully, and that's when my advisor comes to help me. Like when I go in for advising, I'll be like, okay, here's the 2 degree plans that I have. I need to fulfill both of these requirements. Tell me what classes to take. We'll sit down, talk it through, and everything works out just great. So second question is, why did you choose your branch of engineering? Second question that I've gotten a lot of is, why did you choose your branch of engineering? So this is a really good question because a lot of people are like, I want to major in engineering, but I don't know which one to do. And I was there. Like, I was there right with you. In my senior year applying to schools, I was like, I don't know what to put as my major. And it's funny because when I started university, or what I was accepted as, was an electrical engineering major, and I quickly found out that double E was like not for me, so I switched to chemical, and I've never looked back since then. But anyway, why chemical engineering? Well, chemical engineering is, in my opinion, one of the most diverse and flexible majors out there. You can basically do anything with a chemical engineering degree. You can go to law school, you can go to med school, you can go to dentistry school, you can go to graduate school, you can go work straight into industry, and you can do tons of stuff in industry. Like you can do pharmaceuticals, gas and petroleum, energy, manufacturing, and you can also take chemical engineering and apply it to business and do like a startup company, get an MBA. You can do so many things with chemical engineering, which is why it really appealed to me, because I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with my life, so I just need something that's going to give me a really good, solid foundation, something that's well respected, because if someone looks at my resume and they're like, oh, she has an undergrad in chemical engineering, she must be smart. And that's the thing, I have heard this saying so many times, I'm really starting to believe it actually. You can teach an engineer to do anything, but you cannot teach anyone to be an engineer, if you know what I mean. Because an engineering major will teach you so many skills beyond engineering. It'll teach you incredible amounts of critical problem solving skills and how to analyze data and how to take that data and turn it into something meaningful, which I think is a really rare skill to have. Especially the problem solving skills that you develop in engineering school is something you will always apply in your life, regardless of whether or not you work in industry or not. So yeah, I chose chemical engineering because I love chemistry. I was always really good at chemistry in high school. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do after my undergrad, so chemical engineering gave me a huge degree of flexibility, and for that I chose Chem E. Next question is, when did you know you wanted to be an engineering major? So this is actually a really funny question because I actually did not really emotionally commit to engineering until I started taking engineering classes. So let me backtrack a little bit. When I was applying to schools, I, of course, asked my dad, who I go to for advice all the time, and I was like, hey, what should I do with my life? I don't know what to apply as. And he was like, just apply as an engineering major, and if you want to change, you can change. But the thing is that engineering is usually one of the hardest schools to get into within a university. Like, you have to have like a higher GPA, more extracurriculars, yada, yada, yada. So he was just saying, aim for the highest, you'll get in, and then if you want to switch to another major, you can do that, that's fine. But if you're like entering as like an undeclared major, switching into engineering usually has tons of roadblocks and it's just not worth the time. So just start as an engineering major. If you want to change, fine, change your major, it's easy. So yeah, I was just like, fine. So I followed my dad's advice. I applied as an electrical engineering major to all of the colleges that I wanted to go to. I was accepted, and then I was like, okay, cool. That's where we are. So I would say I decided that I really wanted to stick to engineering when I took my first real engineering class, which is just material balances. The class is called Introduction to Chemical Engineering Analysis, and it's just basically material balances. That class really like made me fall in love with my major. It's a very hard class. It's a weed out class. But that was a class where I was like, this is the place for me. Okay, so that brings me to my fourth question. What are engineering classes like overall? Oh, they are fast, they are difficult, and you will have to work your butt off. Engineering classes are no joke. They are so incredibly just like exhausting, I want to say, but it's like so incredibly worth it because I find that engineering professors really care and they really want you to learn the material. They don't really care about your grades, so if you're walking into engineering school with the expectation to have a 4.0, lose that expectation. I had that same one too, but like, no. That's not how it works in here. But yeah, typically the way it works at my university, we have like class and then we have recitation. And so class will just be typical lecture style, and then recitation is usually 2 hours sometime during the week where the TA teaches it, and it's just like a review of everything in the week. You work practice problems, you troubleshoot, that kind of thing. In my material balances class, it was all practice problems. All we ever did is practice problem after practice problem after practice problem. But now that I'm taking thermodynamics, it's all theory, all derivations. We spend tons of time doing derivations in class, and sometimes we just don't see a number all day. We just don't see numbers. It's all variables. I don't really know if I answered that question. What are engineering classes like overall? They're hard. Don't expect to have much of a social life outside of your major. It's hard. You're gonna have to put in a lot of work. It is nothing where it's like things are handed to you on a tray. You will have to go to office hours. You will have to look up things online. You might even have to get a tutor. Like a lot of my classes have tutors attached to the class. So in addition to having the help from our professors and our TAs, we also have a tutor that we can go to. So yes, they are very difficult. You will have to work for your grade, and sometimes the grade doesn't even work out the way you want it to. Some professors will choose to curve down in the sense that they say that the class average will be a C, and so if the class average is like a 92, then a 92 is a C, and you can't argue with that. That's what happened to me for my material balances class. Another story for another time. Next question, what careers are you considering, and do you have a specific dream job? So career is kind of a scary word because that to me implies like this is my livelihood until I die basically, or retire. I want to say though, before I like begin my like career, I definitely want to go to graduate school. So that's something I am definitely very heavily considering right now. As far as where I want to work in industry, I really am leaning towards more pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, that kind of thing, because the research lab that I work in like during the semester is a biotechnology lab, and I am in love with the work that we do. I think it's so interesting and so relevant to the current world. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards like that area, but also I am not opposed to going into like finance or marketing and like doing the more business side of engineering, because I find that it's very valuable to work in business with an engineering background, because you can bridge the gap between the engineers and the business people, because you speak the engineering lingo but you still understand the fundamentals of business, and so you can kind of bridge that gap. My specific dream job, knocking on wood, no one give me nudger, but definitely to own my own company. I'm not going to go into specifics, but I've had this like idea floating in my head for like some time now, so definitely to own my own company, be my own boss. Next question is a tricky one. How do I keep myself motivated? So, oh wow, that's a hard question because it's a very personal question, you know, like how I keep myself motivated. How do I keep myself motivated? It definitely has to do with my family because I come from a long line of engineers. Like my dad was an engineer, my uncle's an engineer, my grandfather's an engineer, like basically everyone in my family has done engineering, and so I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. But really, keeping myself motivated just has to do with like, yeah, it sucks right now. I'm not sleeping a lot. I don't really get to see my friends. My major is punishing me, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. I keep like kind of like an inspiration board of like cool things that I want to buy or places I want to go, and whenever I feel myself being like, oh, this is not worth it, I just look at the inspiration board and I'm like, oh, that's why I'm doing this. Next question, how do you maintain a work-life balance? This is such a like classic question, because all the time whenever I go to like networking events in my major, always if there's like a panel or we're having just like a chit chat session with like the recruiters, it's always like, how do you maintain a work-life balance? And they always give this really well-rehearsed answer, and I'm sitting there just like, wow, that's incredible. And now I'm being asked this question and I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so I don't work. I mean, I have a job. I work as a differential equations tutor, but it's like not a full-time job at all. My full-time job is definitely being a student. So how do I maintain like a school life balance, I guess? It's difficult, I do have to say. It definitely has to do with the friends that I have. Like all of my friends are very, very, very hard workers. And so we get our work done and then we go have fun. My work-life balance basically has to do with time management. So I will bust my ass during the week trying to get all my homework done so that over the weekend I'm free and I don't have to do anything besides really just like study, I guess, like looking over material and doing like a few practice problems. But yeah, I definitely try my best to time manage myself very effectively in a very disciplined way so that I have time over the weekend to spend time with people that I love. I also wanted to mention that I think it really helps to have people around you that understand the nature of what you're doing. So my parents were both STEM majors in their undergraduate and graduate studies, and so my entire family actually does all STEM majors, and so they understand that like my degree is hard, I'm having to put in a lot of work, maybe I can't visit home that often. They understand that, and so they're sympathetic to that, and they're not gonna berate me for not coming home all the time and make me feel guilty. And then as far as friends go, all of my friends are more or less engineering majors because those are the people I spend the most amount of time with. But I do have friends in other majors. But I find that hanging out with them is a little bit difficult because they'll want to go out and be out really late. And I'm like, I have class tomorrow at 8 a.m. or like I have a project due next week, I really need to work on that. It's really about learning how to say no and not feeling guilty about it, because there have been times that I've said no to people and then I feel guilty because I'm like, I never hang out with them, I'm wasting my youth, I'm not doing anything that like you're supposed to do in college, I'm just sitting here at my desk working on this thermo homework and my life sucks. But it definitely helps to learn how to say no, and it helps to have friends that understand the struggle and they're like, okay, I understand you have a test next week. Next question, what are good ways to develop professional connections? This is an awesome question. So networking is your best friend. Networking will do everything for your career. So this means I think the easiest way to start is to go to your professor's office hours and just talk to them about their career, their personal experiences, going to graduate school, that kind of thing. If you develop a personal relationship with your professors and your TAs, they are bound to know people that know people. And so if you make yourself known to your professor, like, hey, I'm a hard worker, I'm going to your class, I'm getting a good grade, I'm interested in this field, I want to know more, could you maybe hook me up with a contact or two so I can talk to them? They would be more than happy to do that. Honestly though, go to like all of like engineering networking events. I'm sure other universities do it. My university is really big on networking events where they'll invite all sorts of recruiters from huge companies, awesome companies, really inspiring companies. They'll come and we can sit with the recruiters and chat with them, eat cookies maybe, or even over dinner and like talk to them. And it's really important to be like, hey, can I get your business card? Hey, can I have your contact information? Can I have your email? Let me follow up with you. I want to learn more. Just show that you're interested, show that you're passionate about what you want to do, and they will definitely reach out to you and you will develop these professional connections that way. And then of course I have to give an honorable mention to LinkedIn. Even though I don't have a LinkedIn, I should probably make one, right? Next question, isn't it very competitive being in such a field as a woman? And the answer is yes, but I don't really know if it has to do with me being a woman. I think chemical engineering is just straight up an extremely competitive field regardless of your gender. And I'm not trying to gloss over misogyny or everything, I'm definitely going to touch on that later on, but I'm just saying I don't think it has to do with me being a girl as much as it just has to do with the like very high intensity nature of my field. I personally find that women don't really compete with each other in our major just because there's a small amount of us, and so we tend to stick together because we've realized that it is far more effective to work together than to like, you know, fight with each other and work against each other. So the women in my engineering program, all of us, we really have like bonded very strongly. But yeah, the nature of my school is that the girls work together. So I don't know if that's the case everywhere, but that's definitely the case for me personally. So the answer is kind of no, it's not specifically because I'm a woman, it's because my major is just really friggin' competitive. Next question, do you ever get harassed or treated unfairly because you're a girl? Yes, I do actually. And it's always in the form of weird little microaggressions that just get under my skin. No one has ever told me like, oh, you're not smart enough to be an engineering major because you're a girl. No one's told me that because that's stupid. Like everyone knows that we all were put through the same like tests and exams and standards, and we were compared against each other, and we all got in. So clearly we're all smart enough. But I have definitely experienced instances in like the classroom or at job events where I've noticed that they really want girls to be less girly. So specifically, I have to reference like those informational sessions that they make freshmen attend, where it's like, this is how to dress for interviews, this is how to dress for like a job expo, like that kind of thing, just like how to dress. And it always comes down to girls dress like a boy, and that really just doesn't sit well with me because I am not a boy and I don't want to dress like a boy. That's something that irks me. And then also there have been tons of instances of like us girls having to speak up to be louder in class because there's some guy interrupting us or talking over us or trying to make a counterpoint to like prove a point. Yeah, definitely I do get treated unfairly. And there's also just the issue of like being in a major where the amount of girls are very like small compared to the amount of guys. I think the ratio at my school is like 28, or maybe it's 30% to 70% or something like that. So I mean, guys are gonna be kind of gross, they're gonna hit on you, they're gonna ogle, they're gonna stare at your butt, like it happens. But I refuse to blame that on like gross engineering boys. That's just boys in general from my experience. All boys are gonna do that, so I don't really think that's like specifically, oh, you should be scared of engineering because boys are gonna look at your butt. Like, I mean, it's gonna happen in all majors. So don't let that intimidate you. You just need to learn how to stand up for yourself, say no, and speak loudly. If there is a boy speaking over you in class, just say, please don't interrupt me, please let me finish. Very politely, very calmly, very matter of fact. And they're gonna be shocked because they've never had a girl say that to them. Be like, please let me finish. So it's just about standing up for yourself and really making your voice known and making your voice clear. Boys are definitely less afraid to speak up in class. If the professor asks us like a question that he wants us to answer, all the boys will shoot their hands up because they think they know the answer, but us girls, we're like talking to each other like, oh, do you think it's this, this, and this? Do you think it's this? Like, I feel like women are very collaborative, which is a very, very good thing, but also the like cockiness of men kind of irritates me sometimes because like for an exam, like I'll be done in 15 minutes and I'll be looking around and no one else is done, but then a bunch of guys will get up and turn theirs in and swagger on out. And then after the exam, I'll be like, hey, did you finish that exam in like 10 minutes to my friend? And she will be like, yeah, I finished the exam really early too, but I noticed that no one else stood up. So I checked my work a bunch of times. I did this, this, and this. And so I find that women tend to be a little more insecure about our academic abilities. And we need to stop doing that because we are smart. We are just as smart. We are smarter, I would say, because I think girls run the world. And so we as women need to stand together and support each other and encourage each other academically and be like, hey, like, you know the right answer, raise your hand. It's all about boosting your academic confidence, and I've found that my academic confidence is highest when I'm working with girls and not boys, because boys, they'll work fast, they'll work all over the place, and if I'm like, hey, what did you do here? They're like, oh, you just do this, this, and this. Like, how do you not know that? And I'm like, because I didn't know. But whereas girls, I feel like girls are kinder, they're more willing to work with you. So yes, do I get harassed or treated unfairly because I'm a girl? Yes, but that's a case everywhere. It's just kind of amplified in an engineering major because you're around a lot of guys. Next question is, are there other women or female professors in your program? Yes, there are women professors, but I have never had any of them, which was kind of weird to think about. Like, all of the engineering classes I've taken, I have never had a woman as my professor, which is kind of odd. But I mean, it makes sense. Like, there are not that many women as professors like in my department or even in the School of Engineering, really. And it can be kind of intimidating because before I like had started going to these like women in engineering networking events, I really hadn't been exposed to like women engineering role models per se, because a lot of people look up to their professors, and I mean, I look up to my professors all the time, even if they're guys. I'm like, wow, that's really inspiring that you've like done this, this, and this, you know? But there's really something special about having like a role model that is a woman in engineering in the same like technical field as you, as chemical engineering. That is something really cool. And so actually the head of my research group is a woman. She did her PhD and everything. Like, she is so inspiring. She is like hashtag goals forever and always. So next question is actually something really odd, I guess, that I wasn't expecting to get, but I got a lot of. Should I pursue engineering even if I'm not the best at math? yes, of course you should pursue engineering. Like, engineering is very math-based. Do not get me wrong. You do have to take very high levels of math. You have to understand math because your engineering professors are going to expect you to know how to do things. But just work on your math fundamentals, take the math classes, do well in the math classes, work really hard, and you'll be fine. Like, there's rarely ever a time where we have to learn like pure math for like our engineering majors. Like, it's just, engineering is like the application of math and physics. I think you should still pursue engineering even if you're not the best at math, because I believe that with hard work you can do anything you want. It doesn't matter if you're like naturally gifted at something. I'm pretty good at math as it is. Like I mentioned earlier, I work as a differential equations tutor, so I don't know, math has never been like a point of struggle for me, so I can't really give you like first-hand advice about this, but I mean, I've definitely struggled in like organic chemistry. Like, organic chemistry is hard, and so you have to take the class, the like pure class, like pure math or pure organic chemistry, but then the application of it to engineering definitely tends to be a little more basic and a little less convoluted. So let's just take differential equations for example. DiffEq is like the ultimate math class for every engineering major. You have to take differential equations. You have to know differential equations extremely well because all engineering has directly to do with DiffEq. The class so far that I have had to take that used the most amount of DiffEq was transport phenomena, which is about like fluid flow and like velocity profiles and like friction factors and all that stuff, dimensionless numbers, Reynolds numbers, Prandtl number, all that stuff. So differential equations and transport phenomena went hand in hand, but I found that transport phenomena, it used differential equations every single time. Every single problem was a differential equation, but if I didn't know DiffEq, I would definitely be screwed. Like, I wouldn't have a clue what was going on. I had to know how to solve differential equations, but like all the scary cases of like unreal roots, repeated roots in differential equations that we took like as a pure math class, I never had to deal with in my engineering classes because it's not applicable. Like, in what world, in what physical chemical engineering world would you solve an equation and get an imaginary number? Like, that's ridiculous. So definitely you don't have to be the best at math, you just have to know the fundamentals and know how to apply them. So yes, you should pursue engineering. Go for it. Okay, I wanted to touch on another question really fast. I have this one on my phone. So the question, so this was asked by someone, she says, I'm a girl in engineering too. What are some examples of sexism you face specifically relating to your major/jobs? How do people respond when you tell them you're an engineering major? Now that I'm a senior, there's a larger amount of girls in my classes, but earlier classes, I'd be one of 3 in a 50-person class. So true. Was that similar to your experience, and did it dishearten you at all? So I kind of touched on the like experiencing sexism in classes earlier on. The gender distribution is still something that still catches me off guard all the time. So like usually the girls in my classes, we all sit together, which I mean, can you blame us? But we usually sit together and the professor will put a stack of papers in the front of the room and be like, this is your homework from last week, pick it up. All the guys will stand up and go stand at the front of the classroom and like wait to get their stuff, and us girls will be just like sitting at our desks like chilling, like waiting. But it's really, really wild to see how like there are like 50 guys standing up, and then I look around and there are like 6 of us girls sitting there, and it's like, really? Really? And don't get me wrong, I am friends with boys in my majors. I mean, most of my friends are guys because that's just how it's working, because there are more guys than girls. But it's definitely humbling to see, like, physically, like, there are 6 of us sitting here and there are like 50 guys standing at the front of the classroom. Like, that is very humbling to think about. I don't find it disheartening though, because I know that the number of girls in engineering is definitely going up with every incoming freshman class, and that gives me hope. And then the last question, which I love, how do you not feel dead inside while studying engineering? I love this question because my friends and I all the time will be like, I feel dead inside. And I mean, it happens. Like, this major is hard, it's exhausting, it really tests your limits. But for me, how do I not feel dead inside? I mean, I freaking love my major. I would never change my major to anything else. Like, yes, I'm a double major in chemistry, but I love chemical engineering so much more. Like, it is in my heart. I would never give it up. I love it and I'm passionate about it. So that kind of prevents the like feeling dead inside. But then, I mean, on the occasions I do feel dead inside, like I had a full day of class and lab and research and I'm just like freaking tired, I do feel dead inside. And so what I do is I just sleep, or I call my friend and I'm like, hey, I had a really shitty day. We'll just talk to each other. It really helps to have a very close support network of friends to be there for you and support you, because I don't know, for me personally, my friends are like a lifeline to me. Like, I don't know where I would be without my friends. But definitely reaching out to my friends, having human contact outside of school is really important. And then also just reminding myself, like bringing me back to like the fundamentals. Like, I'm here because I want to do engineering. Why do I want to do engineering? Because I want to do this, this, and this. I want to accomplish this. I want to like take my family on vacation. I want to take care of my parents. I want to be able to pay for my future babies' educations. Like, those are all things I want to do, and it all depends on right now. So in this present moment, I feel dead inside, but that's okay because I'm working towards a greater goal, and everything is going to work its way out in the end just fine. I also think it's really helpful to have like a running list of self-care things that you like to do. So for me personally, it's spraying my favorite perfume. Right now it's a Replica Lazy Sunday Morning. That's my favorite perfume right now. So spraying my favorite perfume, taking a hot shower, going for a run, talking to my friend, FaceTiming my baby cousins, just stuff like that that makes me feel a little more grounded. What I love doing is taking a blank sheet of paper and writing down all the things that I'm grateful for, just kind of emptying my brain and then looking at all the things I have to be grateful for, and that really grounds me and it makes me feel good about myself and makes me feel a little bit less dead inside. But yeah, just basically all those little things that I can do throughout the day to make myself feel a little more happy and add some positivity to my day. So yeah, that wraps up this video. I'm not going to do a really long thank you for watching thing because this video is probably super duper long, so I'm just going to cut it short right here. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending this time with me. If you want to see more engineering related videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below on the type of video that you want to see, because I don't know what else you guys want to see. Maybe another Q&A, maybe a Q&A with like some of my engineering friends so you can hear their perspectives too. But yeah, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Have a gorgeous week and I'll see you soon. Bye.